Okay, Lee, stay tuned. Are you ready for the continuation of this conversation?
I'm ready.
All right. So, like I was saying before, what is white culture? Is there a white culture?
The white culture thing, I've told many people before that I just don't feel like I have a lot of culture. I know a lot of people in my life who have, people from India, people from China, people from even Africa. They have a lot more culture than I feel I have. I don't really bring any culture like that to, other than maybe consumerism. I guess my son would say that would be the culture, but that's not white culture. That would be more American culture again.
So, like specifically on white culture, why do you think there isn't a white culture?
I don't know. I mean, and that's a bad answer, but I don't know.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
Because I don't know. Well, duh. I don't know because I'm not white, but also, even if I'm not white, like with other races, I see the culture. Like, I might not understand it. I might not know everything about the traditions, but I see there's an Asian culture, there's a Latin culture, there's an African culture. There's all this stuff. But yeah, when I see the white community, I don't know if there's a culture. But I would say though, if I were to ask someone, I wouldn't be confused if they said, "Oh, America's my culture." I think the white community is more apt to say America.
I think maybe white culture is more parallel to the American culture, and we kind of see it as one, not as separated like you would see it, because we see it as the same culture. That's American culture is our culture, and but I just don't see it as I guess again, is it white culture? Guns, that's American culture. The whole gun addiction is American culture. I don't think it's a white culture thing. I just think of, sure.
Oh, I was gonna say, can I ask something that I hope it doesn't come off?
It won't to me.
Okay, I know to you it won't, but whoever's viewing this. But like how there's these things like, oh, Black people like rap, Black people like, and these are actually can be negative stereotypes, but I'm just gonna say them. Black people like rap, they like chicken, they like this, they like that. What is that for white people?
I don't, that's the thing. I don't even know. I can't think of anything like that. I wonder if you might have that from a, you just used the word prejudice here, a stereotype standpoint. Is there there was a great, I thought there was a great Nike commercial. I'm pretty sure it was Nike back in the late 80s during the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird era, where they described, and I won't have this down, but I recommend anybody go try to find it on YouTube. It's a fantastic moment where they say, "You hockey playing, no something talking." Have you ever seen that commercial, Brittany, that goes like that? It's really cool. So Larry Bird says the things that are stereotypes about the Black player, I think, and I think the Michael Jordan, I think, says the things about the white player.
What year was this?
It was. I think it's in the 80s because it's during the Michael Jordan era. Could be early 90s too, but it's during the time when both of them, which would be near the end of Larry Bird and probably well into Michael Jordan's career as well. But that is, and I'm pretty sure it's a Spike Lee commercial too, because Spike Lee did all the Michael Jordan commercials early on, and I'm pretty sure he did that one as well. And it's a fantastic commercial, and so that's a really good one, I think. And they're more making fun of each other's side, but it was really neat the way they did it, I thought, in that commercial. But yeah, white culture. I don't know. I think it's more aligned with American culture for me. And, I guess, hot dogs, 4th of July, who can have the most stuff up at Christmas, which I don't do any of that. That's the problem, is I don't do any of that stuff. The most stuff outside for Christmas, like the Griswolds, maybe that's white culture, because I don't do any of that stuff. So I maybe that's why it's lost me,
Are you saying like competition?
Well, I think that is a big part of the American culture, at least in the Olympics it is, because, we seem, really possessed with wanting to win everything all the time. And, I think that's a big part of the American culture is probably competition. That's why all of our champions are named world champions, even in sports that contain nobody from outside the United
It's
States.
true. Because
And I've heard people tell me that from outside the United States.
That's America exceptionalism. Like we
Yeah,
think we're
that's
a
right.
world.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I do think a lot of, but again, I don't line up with that exactly like that as well. I'm more appreciative of some of the other things too. So yeah, I don't know what it would be. I really don't. Our country's so big and wide that's probably part of the problem. Why we're not as concentrated. We're so spread out. The U.S. is. There's East Coast culture, there's West Coast culture,
I don't know
there's
if
the
that's
South,
truly.
and
Everyone
there's the
has
North.
culture though, besides, I mean, I don't want to say you don't have it, but to say, oh, everything's spread out, but Black people have culture though.
No, I know.
All these
I
other
think
people
you guys, I do agree with that. I do think there is a Black culture, definitely more prominently and easy to find than it is the white culture.
Yeah, I'm
White
not
culture
saying
separated
there's
from
not.
America.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, I guess I'm saying like, not that you're making an excuse, but you're saying, well, maybe we don't have culture because of we're so widespread in this and this. But that goes for every American in America. But if a Hispanic American or an Asian American or whoever, Black American, if you ask them if they have culture, they can show you it, they can tell you it, they have traditions. Right. And they're spread out as well. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think the Asian American and whatever.
I mean, and even Asian American is really simplifying it, because within that, Japanese, Chinese, Korean,
right?
Like there's more than just Asian. Black American is pretty like. Even then, you could say, oh, well, are they, immigrants from America, like second generation immigrants from West Africa or whatever? Like, yes. But I don't know. If you are watching and you're white and you believe there's white culture, comment. I want to know.
Yeah, help articulate that. I
don't want to Google. I want to hear it, because I don't I get different answers from people that I ask, but across the board, people are like, no, we're really individual, the white community. They say we're like, it's like this individualism that might harbor a way to cultivate culture with us. But there's not really individualism with minorities. I think
one of the things that could be contributing to the white culture gray area that it has is that the white immigration was from many different communities, which all do have culture. I think there's probably an English culture, Italian, German, French, you know what I mean? But once you get here, that all gets mixed together, and none of them is prominent anymore. You don't really have, I mean, and there is a little bit of that Italian, I guess you do have a little bit of that, but I think the white cultures are not, you're not, I mean, I have a German background, but it's not, I mean, it's from a long time ago, and it's not part of my everyday life at all. And I think with the African American community, one thing you can say is African Americans who are here, who were, the brothers and sisters or sons and daughters, I should say, of slavery, they have a single spot that culture starts from. I mean, it literally, from free. There's a commonality there that I don't think exists from the white culture perspective, where you put all those ones together. They're not as they don't have a single point to reference from and come from. And I think that's maybe part of why ours is kind of mushy and yours is kind of way more direct than ours is. Because you have a common thing there that you can relate to.
I could say this. Okay, so yes, we'll just go on with Black culture. Black culture, we have Black culture.
Yeah, definitely.
I think our culture, I mean, this can be argued, but Black culture, the origin, I think, was out of survival, centuries ago, like with slavery. I think our culture started a lot with just how we built community with each other on those plantations, from taking, the scraps that we're giving for food and turning that into what we call soul food now. and just us singing while we were picking cotton. That's a part of it. And it was a means of having a community and keeping a sense of their own humanity in this reality that was telling them that they weren't. And I think that essence of that is still in the Black community today. Not the same as slavery, but in a sense that we're still fighting for this sense of humanity. I say we collectively, because I'm pretty sure that's how my community feels. And a lot of our culture, I mean, obvious art, music, food, dance, whatever, what have you. Music, yeah, Aaliyah. But I know a lot of our culture is a way for us to connect and definitely utilize the times when there's pain. Our culture can be very confusing though. It's like there's a positive side to it. And then there's this like, I won't say negative side, but there's this part of it that's like necessary. Like we need this in order to be in this country. Like a sense of self, like that we were taken away from where we were in Africa, wherever we were. And now that we had no choice to stay in America, we kind of cultivated an agency and space for ourselves and made it up as we went along, as years went along, if that makes sense. Like carving our own history in America is kind of our culture. Which is why when people appropriate it, we get upset, because I'm like, it's not like someone just, oh, you're just wearing this or doing this or this. It's not that. It's because most likely that lyric, that dance move came from pain. Probably came from a time where someone was down and, you know, wrote that song, wrote that rap, whatever, just to survive that moment. And then you're just utilizing this product of that moment to monetize on. I don't think people really understand why we get upset when we see it. I try not to. Like at this point, the Kardashians, I mean, I don't know if you're keeping up with them. That's the title of their TV show. But they're just so notorious for stripping Black culture and just putting it on their bodies. I mean, they look like light-skinned Black women all the time. And I don't know if people have given up to fight against them or just realize like this is just the world. Like they just do this. They as in people that would do it, not saying they as in all white people. But moving
I can honestly
on.
say when you brought that up, I don't even know, this is going to sound really bad, but it probably will verify my age and everything. So the Kardashians, I don't know much about them. And are you
That's
saying, I thought they had African-American heritage. You say they have none?
What?
Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know them. I've never watched the show. I've seen them before, but I don't know any. Oh, okay. I mean,
they are not
well,
Black at all. The only African-American heritage they have is the heritage that dwells in their kitchens. What I mean by that is their husbands or boyfriends. Their husbands are usually Black, their boyfriends are Black. But they are not Black at all. They're Armenian. Like
okay, I know nothing about them. I know, like I said, I do not follow that.
But they look like light-skinned Black women.
Aren't they? Aren't they? What? Aren't they Bruce Jenner's children, or some of them, or what's the tie in there? There's a tie in there.
Rob Kardashian is Kim, Courtney, and Khloe's father, and then Caitlyn Jenner. Rob Kardashian, the guy that that represented OJ in the trial.
Okay, no, I
I
don't
wasn't
remember
even
that name
alive then, and I know that, Lord. Anyway.
Well, I don't remember that guy
Well,
from that, but that's okay. I didn't watch that either much.
So, but then there's Kylie Jenner and Kendall Jenner,
Yeah,
and their
Bruce Jenner,
Bruce,
their father,
who at the time Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner. So yeah,
right?
but she is white, and Rob Kardashian is Armenian, and I'm pretty sure Kris Jenner is white. So the first three girls are half Armenian and white.
Okay.
Which they look very white. I do think that anyone can tan if they want, but
right.
when you tan and then you get big butts and then you get big like lips and then you like cornrow your hair and then you try to have all of that accumulation, it's like, what are you doing?
All right. Well, I'm definitely super, super ignorant in this area, which there's a bunch of for me. But I mean, you might want to cut all this out. Who knows?
I know. I might cut some of this.
Yeah, because the Kardashian thing's probably not a big deal. But I did not.
Well, no, actually, you saying no, it is kind of a big deal.
Me saying that because I didn't know. Yeah.
The only reason why I would keep some of this is so that because the fact that you thought they were black, is actually big. So let's go on.
So you talk about the community in the Black culture and stuff, but yet I see a little bit of divide in the BLM movement now. Kind of recently, didn't see it as much a while ago, but I am seeing some of it now. So do you have anything to add on that may be enlightening?
Well, yeah, like when Black Lives Matter Columbus started in 2016, it was fairly new. It was like 3 years in that they established the National Black Lives Matter. Definitely way different. I mean, I'm not going to say all Black people were in on it, but there wasn't this much of a divide between our community on Black Lives Matter. It was definitely a lot more Black people excited that there was like an unapologetic movement for Black people against police brutality, like happy about that. And that's when I was organizing for over 2 years. And recently, and I would say recently, like this year, I don't really know what's going on. And I definitely see that divide with my community. If I had to do like a ratio, I would say less than half. No, I will say half and half, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 50-50 in or out. Before, I would say like 80% Black people were probably like, Black Lives Matter? Yeah. Maybe they want to go out and march, but they were like, they're doing something. But I think now people not only are against it, but are coming out and like condemning it. Because I think they see that what's going on, not with the people that are really mobilizing and doing peaceful things, but what's happening with the other 7% that, and I understand there's a lot, it's a touchy subject to talk about rioting and looting. Like it really is. It's still touchy. Like I have my sentiments about it, but again, it's really hard for me to say I condemn them. I don't condemn the people, but the actions of looting and rioting hurt us. It just hurts the movement. So while I might empathize with the people, well, some of the people, not all of them are doing it for means of, man, if I need food. Some people are just going down there and getting Nikes because they just want to. But the action of looting and rioting hurts the 93% that are actually trying to use protests to make change. And you're further stigmatizing the false notion of Black people to America. And the sad thing is a lot of these people looting and rioting, I know it's captured on TV, that they're getting Black people, but there's so many Antifa people, white people doing this. And additionally, covering their face with masks. I'm not talking about masks because of COVID, but like ski masks, because they're Antifa and whatever. And then they have no IDs, like no one knows, besides they know they're white because their hands or whatever, but they're protected because they're Antifa and that's part of their garb. Meanwhile, all of that trifling behavior, if you will, is now put on Black people. The Black people that are just around in proxy, and also the Black people that are over here marching peacefully and trying to make a change. So for me, I am for Black Lives Matter, the notion of it. I'll never not fight for Black Lives Mattering. No. But the movement, I'm just like, I can't jump in and be like, yes, because I'm not sure what's going on. Like, and not even like some chapters I'm clear. Like some chapters I'm like, I know what they're for. Like it's very clear. They have a plan, they have strategy. But there's a lot of people that are just starting BLMs now who are just doing reckless stuff that should not be doing it. Should just be taking, following the people that are already established and following what they're doing. But instead, everyone wants to be Malcolm X. Everyone wants to be Dr. King. No, that's not the point. Like Dr. King wasn't even trying to be Dr. King. He became Dr. King because he was doing things to help the Black community with I don't want to say moral. Well, yes, with a moral stance, yeah, but he had no like alternative motives of what he was doing. Like he wasn't like, well, I'm going to really be this woke person if I do. No, he was just doing the thing. Malcolm X as well. Now everyone wants to prove how woke they are. And it's not even about change now. It's just about, well, people think that I'm the next revolutionary. That's what I see. But that's not to overlook the changes that's been happening, like with the Breonna Taylor law that passed in Louisville with no chokeholds, and a lot of things have happened because of effective protest, but a lot of bad things have happened that have affected those protesters. Those protesters now have to answer to what's going on with people that don't even understand what the movement's about. So my frustration is more for the people who are doing what they're trying to set out to do to make change, and it's being halted by people who aren't trying to do anything, but just go out and wreck some stuff because they're sick of quarantine, or they want to be living out their fantasy of being a vigilantes or whatever.
Yeah, I do know what you mean about some of that stuff is crazy, and I totally agree. It can't possibly help, to achieve the goal. But then, there's a side of me because I've that also I have a soft spot for some of the rage that legitimately can exist in people. So I'm not saying how that should be. How they should act that out. But I do understand. I mean, not personally me, because I don't have the rage. I have to put myself in that mindset. But I do understand, or I shouldn't say. I recognize. Understand is probably not the best word, but I recognize that somebody could be, fed up. This is the last straw. And when if you're legitimately in that mode, that's a different thing than people who are taking advantage of a situation. Because I do think, I don't want to sound like the mainstream media here, but I do think of the people who let's say and loot and burn and riot, there may be a percentage of those people that have a different feel about it than the other ones who are just trying to get away with something at the time. You know what I mean? There may be people just taking advantage of the situation, and I think that happens. I think that can be true on both sides. I mean, one thing I think that is really, and this is just me, and this may it'll be hard to beat it back from me, but I do think one of the reasons why it's so bad now is I think Trump's America is more racially divided than it was coming in. And I'll buy it that this has always been around, because I believe that totally. But I do think he's charged that up by his rhetoric and by just the way things have happened. Some things are natural, like, and I use the word natural here, but I mean, you take the same police events, you spread them over time. I think when pre-Trump, there was one national response, but since Trump, he has definitely agitated that situation more than it was, in my opinion. And I do think that's part of the reason why things are the way they are in this particular point in time. That's just me personally, what I feel. I really do believe that.
I would say a lot of people feel the way you feel. I would say, though, and this is going to be controversial to whoever hears this, but I'll be honest, yes, like you said, yes, you recognize racism was around before Trump.
Definitely.
I would say this America has been consistent. That I think the only difference is now white people are uncomfortable. That's the only real difference.
Uncomfortable
with like the fact that this is named Trump's America now. Black people would say, no, this has been America. It's just now white people have now see it and they're uncomfortable, and now they're just calling it something that it's been.
Well, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying on that there, because what I'm saying is
this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that, okay, so this is hard to explain. I'm trying to think of an analogy. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna make something up and hopefully this makes sense. It's like, let's just say Subway. What's your favorite food, actually? What's your least favorite food? What's your least favorite food?
That I don't like Brussels sprouts.
Okay, let's say Brussels sprouts. Let's say like 70% of people did not like Brussels sprouts, 30% of people like Brussels sprouts. But the 30% of people that didn't like it, or no, 70% of people who tasted Brussels sprouts were like, this is disgusting. 30% was like, it's not bad, but they've never tasted it. They're like, well, it's like, you've never tasted it, though. How can you say this is not bad? 70% have come to a consensus that Brussels sprouts is disgusting. 30% is like, no, it's not, but you haven't tried it, okay? Then one day, the 30% decide we're going to try it. And then they're like, this is disgusting. Brussels sprouts is disgusting, and we're marking this as a disgusting food. And the 70% is like, we've been said this for centuries as disgusting. But until you tried it, now it's marked disgusting because you've tried it. And that's basically how America's racism is. Now that white people see it, now it's bad. Now the country is Trump's America. Now the country is really divided. Only because white people see the racism now, and only because they feel it. They can see the uncomfortability now. But this uncomfortability and this division is something Black people and people of color have always experienced and have always seen. And we've been trying to say racism's bad, Brussels sprouts bad, but no one wants to hear it.
Well, I don't know if I see it that way. I do understand. I think what you're saying. When I say Trump's America, I guess what I'm talking about is I think Trump has empowered people to be, I don't want to say for racism, but kind of in a way that was not as acceptable before. You could not, you would not be, Trump has enabled, I would say, enemies of minorities that wasn't there before. Now, I'll give you that there might have been people before who were in the public eye, in the public square, who were saying, oh, we need to treat Black people right, we need to do this, but maybe behind the scenes they weren't like that as much, and I can give you that. But when they're saying that, other people who maybe don't have the courage to come out and be overtly racist, because the climate is such that you couldn't be as easily, because you'd pay for it. You would pay for that publicly to come out and be overtly racist. You do not pay for that
now.
No, you do not pay for it as much now as you did then.
Oh yes,
in my opinion.
Everyone's canceled now for saying anything.
Well, but the people who don't care don't.
They don't care because they just see that, like, I don't think that there's no repercussions. There's more people alongside them.
No, I know, but think about, just even if you think about the Charleston, the Charleston thing. Or Charlottesville thing. I mean, that just, I don't know that was as likely to happen and be kind of approved.
No, it wasn't, because they didn't know that Trump. They had a community of people that would collectively come together.
Right.
But now that it's like they saw it with the election. Half of America,
half the population.
Not even half of the population, because only a third of the population voted.
Yeah, it's a third.
Half
You're
of
right.
the third was like, but you know what? I'm not even going to say this. I'm not going to say, oh, they saw half of the third. I'm not even calling half of the third racist. Like, I'm not going to say all the people that voted for Trump is racist.
No, they're not. Definitely not. Let's both say that in general. That is not the case.
I'm making this disclaimer. Everyone that voted for Trump is not racist. I know this because I know so many people who voted for Trump who I've known all my life, like 20 years. And yes, we got into it first because I'm just like, you care about this certain thing or policy over my life, or this. But for them, they were like, no, this policy affects my life though. Like, this policy, like, if I want to do a small business, like, I need this in place. Like, if I vote against that, then this does hurt my livelihood. This does hurt my health insurance. This does hurt this. And as hard as it is to hear it, I have to realize people are people, and people do vote for their own interests. And just to call someone racist because they didn't vote for who I wanted is just not entirely right.
Totally.
And before, though, I was like, everyone's racist, but it's just not, like, on an objective level, it's just not right. And so, and I've had conversations with people have explicitly explained why they vote for Trump. And it's hard to take in, but then you're like, okay, I get why, but it does still, like, but it's like, but dang, all the other stuff he said. But Hillary is a different type of racist to me.
So. Right. Well, that would be the kind, like, that, and I'm not saying she's this, right? Kind of want to make sure, because I don't know, I mean, enough about Hillary. But I can see her falling in the category of the other one we're talking about, where somebody who's publicly seems very much for the Black community, right? But then privately might not
and what's worse,
behave in such a way.
People that do it covertly, or it's like,
I don't know. I don't want to sit here and say which worse, because
let's not. Let's just get into.
But I can tell you what Trump did to Colin Kaepernick was very bad. Because he did something for a purpose that was clearly understood, and he basically warped that into some other thing that's got nothing to do with it. Patriotism, veterans, that's bull crap. All that is, right? And that all happened because of Trump. 100%. Literally. I mean, he turned that into something that it wasn't. And I mean, so from that position, I'm going to say, as an outsider, and I can be overruled by somebody who can speak about it better, but that to me was pretty dangerous, because overtly he supported that and pushed that agenda, and that made it even more prominent now. I mean now, we had our one of the local soccer teams, the coach of one of the local soccer teams kneeled during the national anthem, and this happened this year, Brittany, after you left. But it was all kinds of things in the paper about that. And I think if Colin Kaepernick would have been, treated correctly, or fairer, that whole thing would have been treated fair. I don't know if it would have turned into what it is now. I mean, I do think I know what you're saying. Racism's always been there. I'm not going to even argue that. I know for a fact it probably has. But I think Trump is. I don't think I saw as many people driving around Columbus with the Confederate flags before Trump as I've seen after it. I don't think I saw that expression.
I saw a lot of Confederate flags before Trump.
Yeah, I saw too, but I don't know if I've seen as. I think there's more now. I think it's more overt. I think it's more. It's almost like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like, he has energized, but just because of the way he is, and it's his age is part of it too. And of course, his background. I mean, you know him on the Central Park Five. I mean, oh my God, when that flick came out, 3 years ago, during his presidency, where, those guys, I think, got off, right? I mean,
Yeah, they're
which they should have.
exonerated 5.
What's that?
They're the exonerated 5 now.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, even Trump during that time could not admit that he was wrong on that.
Trump doesn't admit he's wrong with anything.
I know, but I mean, I've had conversations with people who literally are, because he's okay with it, they're not, he's still not okay with them. They're still not okay with them. You know what I mean? And that's the thing I'm talking about. I mean, Hillary Clinton's not.
So you're saying he has heavy influence.
Heavy influence. I mean, Hillary at least demands, and again, I'm not saying she's bad behind the scenes, because I don't have anything to go on that, but at least publicly, she demands decent human behavior. And the same could be said about Joe Biden. I'm not saying that about Joe Biden either, but he, he's not going to go out there and not demand decent human behavior. And I think with Trump, he doesn't demand that. He almost thinks it's kind of funny in a way that people do behave the other way. And I think what just happened
recently.
Funny
that he's even president, to be real.
Well, let's not even get off on that. Good God, I could talk 60
hours. I think
hours
just
on that.
like how.
And it's hard not to even bring that into this, because we've done really good so far, and it's 100% my fault. But I just think that he has. He has enabled, and I totally agree with you. And it's worth saying twice or 3 times. Not everybody who voted for Trump is a racist. No way, no how. But the most racist people in the U.S., I think they voted for Trump. And if there was a way that you could actually do that study, I think that would come out. There's
racist people that voted for Hillary.
Oh, I'm not saying there's none. I'm saying the most racist people in the U.S. because there's a scale there, right? There's a scale there. The guys who marched in Charlottesville are more racist, than maybe Hillary, I would say, and I'm not saying I'm saying publicly and privately, because it takes a lot of courage or the I mean, just to do some of the things that people do. If you're in one of those groups, those white supremacist groups, I mean, those people are definitely they're not as happy with the equalization of the races that's occurring around the globe today, right? Mm-hmm. And they're just not. I mean, that's the best way to say it, So
what do you say? Go ahead if you had something.
I'm just saying I just don't think they're happy with, that things are becoming more equal. And when things become more equal, that means that the only way you can do that is that some people lose some of the things they had without working for them, and some of the people get those things and they didn't get them without working for them. But I mean, to get those things with working for them, you have to take them away from somewhere, and they come away from, sometimes they come away from people who are working for them too. It's both, right? But I mean, and this, that becomes more of the privilege thing, I guess. But I mean, it's just, there's I'm not upset with, the changing of the face of America. It doesn't bother me at all. That part just doesn't bother me, but I know that bothers a lot of people. And I know it bothers a lot of older people like me, that they don't like to go to a gas station and, the race of the people at the gas stations, or you hear about the cab drivers or subway owners. These are stereotypes I'm bringing out here, right? But there's people who talk about those not in a good way, as you well know. And that's
I don't changing. Know. I mean, I do, but I don't know those conversations, because I will, yeah.
Well, they're not respectful. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I bet not. What do you say about Black Trump supporters?
I don't understand them unless you're a super pro-lifer, evangelical. Because I understand what that to me, and again, this will be off topic, but
they're usually voting for the same things some of the other non-racist white people are.
Right. Yeah, they want. I mean, if you feel if you feel that pro-choice is the worst thing on the planet, I mean, you and I know that Donald Trump is literally, he's a con man. So he'll give you what you want because
What?
he gets something in return. He gets power.
So
He
what?
gets power and he'll give it away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so hard.
What do
One,
you think
it's
about
so
the
hard to
black
think of,
support of Trump?
huh?
What do you think about the black support of Trump? I mean,
Well, I know, I don't know a lot, but I know maybe two. Um, I would
Tim Scott of
say,
South Carolina, and who's the other one? Kanye West. That's the two.
oh,
Now you
no,
probably know two
no,
people
Kanye
personally.
West is running for president.
Yeah, but I think he's doing it to hurt. Right? I thought he was doing it because I heard about that. I thought he was doing it to
On
hurt
Trump's
Biden.
behalf.
Yeah,
That's what
because
I hear. I
to
don't
steal
know.
some black vote away from Biden is what I've heard. That's the reason.
Yeah, I would say this. It's like people, I don't know, it's so weird. It's like when you think objectively, it's actually harder not to just be to think subjectively and off emotion, just be like, you know what, you're racist, or you know what, you black person that vote for Trump, you're a coon. Like it's so easy to do that because then
Right.
it's like you can categorize them and it's, but when you objectively look, you got to really be like, why? And like I said, a lot of black voters I feel voted for Trump because they're sick of the Democratic Party taking advantage of them and promising them things that they never do.
Sorry, that was terrible.
Yeah, you tried to shut me up. Just kidding. They try to. They're sick of the Democratic Party. They think the Democratic Party is enabling the black community and actually disabling them, making them powerless, marginalizing them more by making them think that they're giving them more. That's actually harming. Whatever. They think Democratic Party is racist. They don't trust them. They think that the Republican Party or Trump, some are just like, Trump is the first time I voted for a Republican, feel like Trump looks at them like a person, that Trump cares about the small business owner, cares about the, the average American. They feel like they're the average American. That Trump, what else? That Trump looks at them like a peer. They don't feel like the Democratic Party does. They think the Democratic Party looks at them like a pawn. So there's reasons why everyone does. But the thing is like people get upset and like, how can a white person vote for Trump? Like, but then you see a black person, you're like, well, dang, how could they? Like some people are just like dumbfounded by that.
I'm dumbfounded by anybody voting for him. Don't get me wrong here, because he's a con man, and I think if you buy the con, you're going to vote for him. And I don't care if you're black, white, Asian. It doesn't matter to me. If you buy into that con, if you think he's really
You just don't
like
think
you,
some people are fed up?
I do think people are fed up with the system, but I can tell you he wasn't the answer for it. I voted for Ross Perot twice, and because I'm fed up with the system. But Ross Perot was a billionaire, like Trump, but he was a decent individual, unlike Trump. He wouldn't go in there and bring world leaders to his hotels and take the money. You know what I mean? Because that goes to him. When you have people say at your hotel, it goes to
Hillary
you.
does this.
Well, she don't own
Hillary's
hotels. I don't know if she has anything like that I can.
Well, we
think of.
won't know because of her emails.
But I mean, the Clintons don't have anything like that I know of. I'm not a fan of the Clintons. I'm not saying that.
I will send you some.
But I'm saying they don't have nothing like that I'm aware of. They sell books. I know she does speaking engagements, but people pay to speak. That's a different thing. But when you're the president and you can say, President Xi from China, you come and bring your security detail, which is not two people, stay at my resort. I mean, they're not staying for free. It's not like you're a family member. Hey, I'll put you up at my hotel and it's free. No, it is expensive to stay in those places. And when you do all that business out of your hotels and plus you have your own security forces there, you're making money on it. I mean, I would, that is a conflict of interest that is so easy to see to me. And it's dismissed as if nothing has ever happened. And I can't think of a president who has even done that in my lifetime. You know,
Yeah.
what that is to me. And it's, you know, I mean,
People
and he was
thought
close
George
to,
Bush was bad. Now people.
well, Bush was bad in a different way, but but it wasn't like he
No, I'm
owned it.
just
It's
saying.
like,
People were
yeah.
like, "Oh, he's such." Now people are like, "Please come back." But anyway,
Well, that's like anything, you know, worst, you know, that's the way it works, right? If somebody is worse than the other guy, then you could, yeah, you'll take the other guy. Everybody would. I don't think that's bad. I would take George Bush over Donald Trump because I think he had better motives. I think he was a better person at the core.
yeah, I'm not
He
saying he's
was not
not.
self-serving.
I guess I'm saying people looked at him like they kind of looked at Trump, racist and with the Katrina, and they're like, he's just. But now people look back and it's like, dang, he was not, or wasn't that bad.
He's not, again. You know, I think a lot of people have trouble differentiating between things. There's this false equivalency that happens. I like to use that term all the time. And, you know, Hillary Clinton might have been bad. That's fine. Donald Trump is bad. You know, we don't have two good choices. Yeah, but one of those is clearly worse than the other one. They're not tied at the same place. And a lot of people could not differentiate those two things. And I never could understand that. I wasn't a huge fan of Hillary. I didn't want Hillary to be the president of the United States. I mean, if I don't have, you know, just because. But
If
when
she didn't run as like the first woman, she would have been, obviously. But if she didn't run like the feminist and the whatever, she could have shot maybe. But don't be grinding on the fact you're a woman, because I really, one, I don't care. Two, I don't want you to be the first woman president because you're horrible.
Yeah. And she barely lost too. That's the other thing too, right? I mean, she didn't lose by much.
The fact that she barely lost to Trump, it's just so funny. It's like, you really suck.
Yeah, that's right. You really suck. And I think everybody knew that, and that's part of it, right?
That was what she's more embarrassed about. Like, not mad that like if it was anyone like Obama, like, yeah, you're not gonna win. But to lose to someone that literally was like the class clown and you couldn't beat him.
Yeah.
What's it say about you?
Let me ask you this, because since this will be along the topic that we're on as well, because it's race related, is you know, I read that report about the IRA, that Republican agency, and how they targeted Americans and how they targeted the Black community, and they targeted the Black community to not show up to the polls. They didn't say vote for Trump. They just said sit this one out. Now I'm not Black, obviously, so I did not get that message.
But I wondered, sit this one out.
No, this is what I heard. The online social media stuff was, you know, the message to the Black community was, Hillary's really not for you. You don't have to vote for Trump. Just sit this one out. And when you look at what happened in 2016, you know, the people who voted for Barack Obama, the turnout was not the same as it was in 2016 as it was in 2012 or 2008. In the communities where there's heavy Black votes.
Well, yeah, because he's Black. I mean, it says superficial as that.
Oh,
of course, the first Black person president, there's going to be people that might be 67 years old that maybe never voted, and if they have a chance to vote for the first Black president, by golly gee, they're going to come out. Now,
do you think there was not a message like that though, or
I don't know? I didn't get that message. Don't vote. No, maybe subliminally they were saying that. Maybe like, what do you have to lose? When he said that, maybe that got into someone's head, and they were like, "Well, he has a point about this, but I can't vote for him. Maybe I won't vote. Maybe." But I didn't get the message of don't vote. Like, you don't have to vote for me. Just don't vote for her. I didn't get that. Like, targeted.
Well, it's not from Black campaign. This is from the Russian propaganda machine.
Oh, I don't know.
You know,
I can't
they had all kinds of different
plans. I didn't get it.
They had all kinds of different plans, and Trash Hillary was one of them. But with the Black community, there was literally, you know, accounts and stuff, and there was a huge, you know, intelligence thing done on this, and they said, you know, the message there was not necessarily against Hillary as much to, you know, this, you can sit this one out if you want to. It's not a big deal. You know, she's really not for the Black community either. And we're not saying to vote for Trump. You know, if you just don't show up, she'll lose. And that's kind of what happened.
But that's a vote. I mean,
it's a vote. I understand. It's a different way of looking at it though, right? They're not saying vote for Trump because he's better. They're just saying, you know what? Yeah, Trump's terrible.
They're saying
Hillary's
like,
not much either.
ease your conscience and don't vote for the woman that's not for you, but don't feel obligated to vote for Trump. Like, just ease your conscience on this one and just stay home.
Right.
Because you don't want to have on your mind that you voted for someone that might be against you, but she really isn't. I could see how that might have gotten intertwined in some message.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I didn't hear any other black.
And we might not have got it because we're not a swing state either. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
You know, those things are so targeted. That social media thing is, you know, I knew people who thought Pizzagate was real. I mean, I knew people who thought the Clintons were running a sex ring out of a pizza parlor. I knew people who actually thought that. I mean, when you hear that story, you should know it's not real. I mean, there's no evidence of that. That didn't happen. That's why when
we
those people
really
showed
are
up,
getting off.
I know, but I'm just saying, right? I mean,
Trump's America, Pizzagate sex ring. Like,
yeah,
what?
that's right. Yeah, but that's all part of it. I mean, so I guess getting back to, you know, the Trump America thing. I mean, I do think the protests are worse now, and I think part of the reason why they're worse is because you have him empower. You know, he brought the police. Think of Washington D.C. You know, where there's people there, he ran those people off when they were not doing anything, right? He commanded those people to shoot, and I'm not going to say tear gas here because I know it wasn't. It was pepper balls or whatever the hell it was, but it was some kind of a chemical agent, right? He dispersed a peaceful crowd, you know, to walk across that thing and hold that Bible up. I mean, that didn't happen under Obama, and that's happened in a lot of places. You know, he wants to put the force. You know, he's the only president I can think of now who wants to put the force of, you know, the American, you know, military, like, against citizens. You know, he likes the sound of that. You know, he's actually
power
said
of
it.
being able to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know I don't know if that would have ever happened under Obama. You know, that's just not going to happen. You know,
Obama would be like, you know, we're going to get.
Well, he wouldn't break it up.
We're going to get to it.
Yeah.
I love Obama.
Well, he wouldn't. Yeah, no, but he wouldn't try to break that up because he's not like that.
I mean Obama had his flaws, but
he had his flaws, definitely. Well,
as a man,
he's a decent guy.
I would cry. I mean, actually, I did see Obama once in high school. It was my first time I voted, though, because I was able to vote.
Oh, cool!
And that was the first time I was able at 18.
That's a cool first vote.
I know. I was like,
I mean, that's a pretty good first vote to have. I would think that's pretty neat, especially since Indiana voted for Obama too. I think, right? I thought he won the state.
He flipped our state. Or yeah. Oh, you were there.
Yeah,
you were there.
But anyway, it's just like the governor thing, right? You got that militia trying to kidnap the governor of Michigan, and you got Trump really not speaking out strongly against it. And so I'm talking about that action.
He's not going to speak out against his base. And right now, especially, he's trying to get elected.
I know.
Okay, so we're ending this.
Okay.
Great. It's break time.
Break time.